Welcome to the Vibelytical Pop-up number two in season two. Um, Andre, how was your day?
My day was my day was good. Yeah, it was good. It was a pretty chill work day. So,
Mhm.
yeah, no complaints. Just doing normal EO duties.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Mhm.
pretty chill day today, actually.
Nice.
How
Uh,
about
my,
you, Brandon?
my day was pretty chill too. I get to telework a little bit, but it's still busy, and I still hit the gym at lunchtime. Got to make time for my fitness slash therapy. Yeah, that's what it is for me. On our Vibelytical show. If you're watching, please let us know where you're watching from. And please like, share, follow, comment, all that stuff. And if there's anything that you want us to talk about, and even if you want to come on, we can send you a link and you can get your camera right, get your angles right, and come on and talk to us and share what's on your mind. We like to take a break from comments, and that's why we do the pop-up shows where we could just talk about whatever comes up or whatever's going on in the news, share our opinions, always with an intent to uplift and edify. And we like to keep it moving on the Vibelytical show. We like to visit you all and see you all. And really just keep the show going.
Yeah, I see Mr. Mullins is on. If he's on, hey, Mr. Mullins. But
Hey,
yeah,
Mr.
I
Mullins.
um I definitely do want to talk about a couple of things. Uh I'm trying to think of something I want to bring up like right now. I want to talk a little bit about Lil Nas X.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Brandon and I have been talking offline about Lil Nas X and the controversy of the video he released. I don't even know the name of the song. I have not looked at the video yet. And then there's been a lot of controversy about the shoes that he sold that apparently Nike is suing Lil Nas X for infringement. So
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Brandon that, and for those that want to comment on that, please comment in the comment section of this live because I would love to hear y'all's perspective on Lil Nas X and the stuff that has been going around about this video and about the shoes that were sold. But I'll go ahead and speak my piece. So I one thing that I will say is that, and one thing that I told Brandon was that the message in the music video, from what I've been told, because like I have not watched, I have not watched the video. I may decide to watch the video, eventually. It's just like I just don't feel the need to at this moment. Um, but the message behind the video, shout out to Kid Fury and Crystal West from The Read. Um, Kid Fury basically said that he did enjoy the message behind the video. He did say that basically he would the Lil Nas X's message was to get back at the heavily religious individuals that criticized him and everyone in the LGBT community for being gay and wanted to put it back in their faces saying, well, since you want to send me to hell, I'll just go to hell then.
Mm-hmm.
So he maximized on Satanism, in my opinion. It
Mm-hmm.
went a little too far. And I told Brandon he went a little too far because apparently in the video, I was told, well, I heard from Kid Fury that Lil Nas X ended up sleeping with Satan and then taking over his throne as the head person
Mm-hmm.
in hell. And I felt like at that point it went too far. But Kid Fury did say that as far as like the shoe part, that was excessive.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he sold 666. Okay, you all know what 666 means, but
Mm-hmm.
666 pair of those. I hate to say this, but knockoff Nike shoes because Nike said we ain't got time for that today, and we are soon.
Mm-hmm.
But and they sold under a minute. Apparently, under a minute they were sold.
Yep.
So I felt, and then apparently there was a drop of blood in each of the shoes. So
A
we are
drop of human blood.
of human blood, human
Mm-hmm.
blood. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's be clear, human blood.
Whose
So
blood is in these shoes? I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't know. So for me, I felt that that was excessive. And one thing that Brandon and I agreed on was that it wasn't rooted in love. It was just a lot of anger behind it. Because I mean, uh, I'm speaking for self though. Me as a gay man, yes, there are religious folks that I know personally that I don't really want to have much to do with, but I wouldn't go to those lengths to express my disdain for their thoughts on
Mm-hmm.
homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Brandon and I are about uplifting and edifying people.
Right.
We will criticize the Christians. Yes, we will criticize them all day. Brandon and I criticize church building goers, and
Mm-hmm.
we still will criticize them because we just want to ensure that they have a relationship with the Most High and in the right way.
Yeah.
Um, so we are a group of people that criticize, yes, but we
Mm-hmm.
will not go to those links. And I think that's what Brandon and I agreed on offline about this. It was terrible to
Mm-hmm.
see, and I mean I can't deal with the contacts that were like orange and red and like it was just like goosebumps for me. I just couldn't. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on it, Brandon, that you want to share?
Um, I think the video was one thing, and for me, it's not the first satanic video from a recording artist. So I feel like, unfortunately, it's the norm for recording artists to make satanic and demonic imagery and discuss overtly how they sold their soul to the devil over and over and over again. Multiple, probably your favorite artists, you could find a song from Michael Jackson to Eminem to Ariana Grande to whoever, Taylor Swift, whoever you want, whatever artist you want to name, Beyonce. Um, there's songs where they've either been demonically influenced, um, and or where they discuss selling their soul to the devil. And in Beyonce's case, she didn't say I sold my soul to the devil, but what she did say that she used the pages of the holy book to plug her minstrel. So I was not surprised at the satanic imagery of the video, unfortunately. But when it comes to the shoes, I feel like that was a whole different statement. The satanic imagery was enough, but then you come to the shoes, and then you using the 666, and then not only that, but the pentagram, which has the symbols, and then red liquid, and the shoes are red and black, and then also a drop of human blood. Like, where's that? Who gave this blood? That's going in these tennis shoes, and to me, uh, those are all, if you want to talk about the church demonizing and being exclusionary, that's one thing. But we cannot, I felt like people were trying to attack all these issues all together. And I think even Lil Nas X, that was his goal, to stir up trouble with the church. I think there's other artists like Kanye West who did the same, came out, did the same thing. And I think the main issue, when earlier you said having a relationship with the Most High, I think what that means is your religion should be lived inwardly. I think what Lil Nas X did was he responded to things outside of him instead of having conversations that were productive, in which he overcame the ill-mannered things that he was taught from the church. Like, we have a relationship with the Most High. Just because you're gay and the church doesn't accept you, that doesn't mean that the Most High doesn't accept you. Donnie McClurkin.
Oh,
You
I want
know,
to talk about that as well.
okay, yeah. So when it comes to Lil Nas X, I'm just like, is a publicity stunt, I think, and the church fell right into the trap. I do think we should talk about. There's nothing talking about these issues, but do so in a way, I think, that's healing and not condemning, and then get off the emotional train. Because I be feeling like these people are government agents. Like they're just trying to keep people whipped up in an emotional frenzy and keep people responding. If I give you so much dopamine, to keep you in a state where you're constantly trying to respond to the things that I'm giving you. And that's what I think Lil Nas X is, which is why I'm not even going to discuss the video, but these shoes, that's next level. And then, what's funny is Lil Nas X try to make himself the victim as well. If you just go and you look at his tweets, like talking about how everybody's talking about him now. That's what you wanted. You did all this for you know what I'm saying? Now everybody's talking about you. And then, but my biggest issue with him as an artist is that his music is targeted towards children, and he said it. He said he was literally his tweet said I was literally talking about lean and something else in Old Town Road, and you allowed your kids to listen to it. Blame yourself. So he is a mean, evil person based on these tweets, based on this imagery, and I don't like him as an artist nor what he represents. And I think you know boycott Lil Nas X. And to me, when you mix so much negativity with trying to do good, to me, your statement is gone because it didn't come from a pure place. It didn't come from a place of trying to set people free. And to me, like 1 minute he's apologizing for the shoes and all that, and the next minute he's this other person. And so he's like double-minded, and clearly he knows the truth. It is my perception based on his action that he knows the truth and he feels guilty about what he did. And I think that's why he goes in and out of seemingly being spiritually conscious.
Right. I just want to like kind of laugh right now because it says Andre Brooks is watching, and I'm like, I am Andre Brooks, so that's kind of funny. I am on live through my phone, even though we're using StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard for y'all to see the graphics. I see Gary's on. Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
I want to go elaborate on what you just said about what you said earlier about Lil Nas X in reference to you made a statement saying that like the relationship you have with the Most High should be inward. So he's focusing on things that are out of his control in a sense. Like people are going to say what they're going to say, and I totally agree with that. And I that's kind of the reason why I said I don't know what Lil Nas X's intentions were himself. They may have been good, but they were terrible. And that's the reality of it. Your intentions could have been to educate religious folks who are homophobic. It could have been that way, but it just went too far left. And I actually feel that he got lost in the message was lost in translation.
Yeah.
And it went too far. So that's the reason why I feel that Lil Nas X shouldn't have done the video. I feel like he shouldn't have done any of it because it is it wasn't called for. And Brandon, like you said, there's so many other artists out here that have demonic and satanic symbols in them and all kind of sacrificial kind of videos. The Weeknd got all kind of stuff going on. So like at the Super Bowl, I was freaked out watching The Weeknd. I had goosebumps, and I'm talking about like scary goosebumps watching The Weeknd. I'm like, what is all red and black and the whole like what is going on? Like so yeah, I felt that it was excessive. You said boycott Lil Nas X, which is a powerful thing, a bold thing to say. And I mean, I'm not saying for me, and I'm not saying that I disagree or that I have an issue with what you said about boycotting Lil Nas X, Brandon. I just feel that for me, I try to be a little bit more careful on boycotting a person. Me, just personally speaking, I try to like, I don't know if I want to boycott them. Being that he did do something that was extremely terrible, I feel that honestly, what I'm saying is, I feel like the stuff that
Say
he
it.
did was out of his control,
Uh-huh.
even though he could have declined doing it. If
I
that
want
makes
to
sense.
I want to agree, but I want a little bit with that when it comes to the marketing and all this stuff.
Mhm.
He probably just had
Yeah.
a plan and it probably just went overboard. But during this time, I think he showed his character. And to me, I'm not like I don't when I say boycott because I be if you
Yeah,
follow me
what does
on Facebook,
boycott mean?
when I
Let's
say
find out what you mean by boycott for Lil Nas X.
when I say boycott, because I done said boycott Tucker Carlson, but boycott Candace Owens. Like I just be hashtagging boycott. Like what I mean by that is, like I don't mean boycott them forever, but until their spirit is about edifying and about truth telling, then why are we boycott them? Like look, okay, so outside of this situation, let's say it was his creative idea, which then the powers that be came in, right? Because we know the industry is satanic. That's not me
Mhm.
saying it. There's
Mhm.
plenty. Just Google it. Just
Mhm.
Google it. You'll find all kind of celebrities talking about how satanic the industry is, how satanic Hollywood is, and then just listen to your favorite songs. You might hear it in there. I mean, it was even in Call Me Maybe, in Ariana Grande song Side to Side. That had a good beat. I remember one day I got in the car and that song came on, and it's interesting because I never listened to the radio, but that song was on there, and in the song she says, "Tonight I'm making deals with the devil." Google it. If you don't believe me, go and Google it. So
No,
this is
no, 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 no. We talked about this offline, and
yeah,
I'm still like, what that
right.
happened?
So your favorite artist, probably sold their soul to the devil, or
Yeah.
it was making music about it.
Mhm.
So to get to the boycott thing, what I mean by that is I'm saying boycott Lil Nas X because he sang the song Old Town Road in front of children at some school assembly, and he said that the song was about lean and something else. Lean, basically, the song is about drugs and blame yourself for letting your kids listen to it, but yet he is pushing that music to kids.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like boycott, like anybody who's not. And I guess this is what I'm really saying. Anybody who's representing our people in a negative light, it's enough of that. It's time out. It's time out for can I just be the little Malcolm X ish that I am? like
Please. You know
like
I'm a fan of you and Malcolm X. Y'all the
Yeah,
same. So go ahead.
can we cut it out with the Uncle Toms? You know what I'm saying? Like these entertainers are not, black civil leaders. Like why we give people these all this credit just because they made a little money or they got a hit or two, or knowing that who owns the record companies, who's the person behind that made this video a thing, because most of these artists, just like, I mean, we could talk about the Anita Baker thing, but I'm gonna take a quick detour.
I want to
Like
talk about all that. I want to talk about
yeah,
all
like most of these artists don't own the creative rights to their materials, and that's part of what happens when they sign these contracts with these record labels. So Anita Baker is in a fight to own the rights to her masters, and it's funny that they call it masters as well. So I mean, I like to extrapolate everything I can from words, and words have meaning, and words have power, especially when you get into spiritual things, and the meanings of them. So these are called their masters. So they don't own their masters yet; they're the artist. It's very interesting, right? Like
that.
I'm the artist. I created this. I sang this song. Yeah, you may have produced it, but I am the voice of it, and they don't get to own it. It's very interesting. So
Yeah.
the business aspect of Lil Nas, I bit of grace and say that maybe are we blinking?
We blinking?
Yeah, and you kind of froze a little bit.
Well,
Um,
I can, I didn't see it. So I don't know. I hope that ain't you over there tripping.
uh-oh.
Did
How's
it come through?
are we good now? Cause like I can't really hear you very much.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Huh?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Uh-oh. Looks like I'm by myself right now. Hold on. Let me see.
It kicked us off, then it came back. I think we're
Oh,
good.
okay. I was like, I was by myself for a minute,
I think
and the
we're good now.
camera was on me by myself for a second. I was like,
It,
oh,
what's crazy is, remember during the storm, it was just fine. I mean, it did rain today, it was cloudy, and I do live on base, so sometimes that messes with the Wi-Fi. But um, where was I? Yeah, so what I mean by boycott is like when somebody is representing our people in the wrong way, I feel like boycott them. And to me, in some ways, what Lil Nas X did can have the exact opposite effect on the Christian community than so rather than creating a situation in which people have the opportunity to love and say some things that make people change their train of thought, I think he did the opposite.
he
But
did.
maybe maybe that's what his plan was. But on a Vibelytical show, this is our opinion. And we share, what we believe. And I don't know Little Nas X personally, so in some aspects, I cannot speak on a man's character, and I will say that. Um, but then it say you will know them by their fruit. So.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. And the thing is, I mean, we all know that Brandon and I are going to have differences of opinion, but I definitely see where you're coming from, Brandon, with that. I guess for me, boycott means cancel. That's
Hmm.
what I feel like boycott means, like just
Hmm.
remove them. They like, and I don't know. I try to tread lightly on boycotting a person, um, but at the end of the day. I'm in complete agreement. That's the thing that I'm having the tug of war with because I completely agree with everything you're saying. I just
Hmm.
don't want to boycott them. Maybe because I want what's best for Lil Nas X, even
Hmm.
though he is not representing what
Hmm.
how to uplift and edify.
For
So
me, boycott doesn't mean cancel. I think I'm meaning it in like a spiritual way. Like if I sin against you and I don't want to right my wrong or whatever, then you know our relationship is broken and we're going two different directions. If you're growing in your relationship with the Most High and I'm not, and then I pick a fight with you, then our relationship is broken because I'm trying to do everything contrary to what you're doing. So I would say then for you to boycott me if that was us until I turn back to the righteous way. And it's not that you're telling me what the righteous way is, it's that that's what I'm seeking. And that's sort of what I mean by, having a relationship with the Most High. Because when somebody's living honorably, I don't think I need to tell you I'm living honorably. Like you're going to see it. And I think the fight that he is having and the reason why he's two different people apologizing, but then saying, like, blame yourself. And I did this for kids. And the reason why he's doing that is because he's caught in between maybe the industry and demonic powers, and he's trying to figure out what side he's going to choose. So I do want what's best for him.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and I'm not saying that you don't.
yeah,
For me, I feel like the word boycott is such a strong word, and
yeah,
for me, I would rather say I'm put
yeah,
him on the back burner, or I'm not focused on
yeah,
anything Lil Nas X does. I
yeah,
don't support anything Lil Nas X does at
yeah,
this moment because there's some inner
yeah,
spiritual work that he needs done within him. So for
yeah,
me, boycott, I just don't want to use that word, even
yeah.
though that's what boycott really means is like
Uh-huh.
over there somewhere. Like,
Yeah, because I think let me say the reason why I'm using that word is because I am about uplifting and edifying the people. And I feel like if Yahusha was to walk the earth today, I think he would be most concerned with the most oppressed. And when we look at the history of this nation in America, when it came to the power to do things, like if we ever did boycott for righteousness sake, we literally have all the power. The black vote saved America. If you wanna go there, you know what I'm saying? Like and we've been determining who's going to win an election for a long time. And so maybe the reason why I'm using the word boycott is to bring social awareness to the power that the people actually do have. And if we boycott people, if we boycott people like Lil Nas X or the Cardi B's or the Jay-Z's or the people who are essentially, you know, the top earners and the people who they will go to and look up to, like Jay-Z's a billionaire. You know, Oprah have him on the show and talk about how he became a billionaire, but he became a billionaire by making demonic music. You know what I'm saying? And telling the youth to you know what it means to be a rock boy and how he went from a dope boy to a rich rapper. But while he was being a rich rapper, he's still telling our youth to demonize themselves and live lesser. And the only way for us, like he's an example that the only way for us out is through rapping or basketball or celebrity status. That's all I'm trying to get at. And I feel like Lil Nas X with what he just did is just another representation of that. Um, and maybe he's not, but that's just kind of my opinion right now on him as a person because he literally marketed that song and did that song to children and he's admitting it. I'm not even saying cancel him over the satanic video or the shoes, but it's the knowledge that he let me know that he's aware of what he's doing and he marketed himself to children, and that's why his song is so catchy. And to me, if you want to go to boycott, he deserves to be canceled. He does.
I like it. Keeping it 100.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, when you break it down like that, that definitely makes sense. So boycott is the correct word to use in that. Now that you've explained it more, I guess just the word boycott is just, I don't know. For me, it's a really, really,
yeah,
really strong word.
yeah.
But what
But
I
don't you think, hold up, let me flip it on you. Don't you think it's a very strong thing for him to know that he's making this music to target children and be cool with that? Like I made this, you know, and I
yeah,
literally made this song about that, and you let your kids listen to it. It'd be different if he never. I probably wouldn't feel the same way if he never performed it in a school.
right,
But he
and
literally went to a school to perform it.
yeah, after saying that, when you say that, it definitely makes more sense. That's the
Mhm.
reason why I say, okay, it now makes sense why you say boycott
Yeah,
because I didn't know that part.
yeah.
I don't really follow Lil Nas X like that.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't
Uh-huh.
know that he went to a school
Uh-huh.
and did all that stuff. So your influence is these kids, the Gen Zers or whatever, because
Yeah,
he's like Gen Z himself actually.
yeah.
So because he's a baby.
And a lot younger. I think like he went to elementary school was performing this song. So you full
Yeah,
well know. So I'm
yeah.
just like you full well know what you're doing, and I don't think that a person who's so he wasn't saying it because he was sorry. He was saying it like I did this like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
like I'm a like it's funny. Like you should be laughing right now.
Yeah,
It's
like blame yourself. Like that's something you should be apologizing for, you know, or trying to change your artistry. And I think that yeah, I just hate to see young people participate in the demise of other young people. I think you're a worst kind of you're the worst kind of person when you do that kind of thing. Since we're on the topic of boycott, let's talk about why boycott Candace Owens. Because she, as a black woman, experienced racism, but she says she acts as if she hasn't, and she lies. And she says that she never experienced racism, but yet she had a civil lawsuit that she won
and she
from
got a nice bit of coin.
yeah, I think 30,000 or more, something like that. And she won a civil lawsuit against the Educational Institute. But yet now she acts as if she doesn't and has never experienced racism and tries to turn around racism to make it seem like that's not America's biggest problem. But so that's why I say cancel her.
Yeah,
So
I'm
and really, that's why I use boycott because let me not use cancel because I don't like cancel. I don't want to use the word everybody else is using. I want people to think like when I say boycott, if Candace Owens changed her tune and started to be a truth teller and talk about her experience as a black woman who is dark skinned, and we know that sometimes dark skinned women are treated probably the worst, and dark skinned people around the world, from Rohingya Muslims all the way over there in the Rakhine and all this stuff. So we see that around the world, darker people are treated badly, and so she knows she is too, but yet acts as if that's not the case.
yeah. Yeah, Candace Owens definitely needs to be boycotted. Apparently, not that I'm promoting her, but she has a show coming out, and
Mhm.
and it's the Candace Owens show in Nashville, Tennessee, of all places. And it'll be no shade against people from Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, Nashville. But she.
Yeah, but CC Wana's church is in Nashville.
I did not know that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, so she'll be in Nashville doing her show. I think April 17th or something like that. I don't know the exact date, but yeah, she definitely needs to be boycotted because she's not even living in her. She's not even living in her truth. She's so in denial about everything. Everything. She can. Oh, it looks like I froze.
Oh, not. I think you're back now.
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay. But yeah, so moving on to Donnie McClurkin. So if you all know or don't know who Donnie McClurkin is, he is a gospel singer. I think he's a Grammy-winning gospel singer. Very
Everett, what's up, Everett?
Oh, Everton. Oh, hey, Everett. So Donnie McClurkin. I don't know what to do with this. Okay, so Donnie McClurkin came out yesterday or the day before and announced. Oh, I see Dion's on. Hey, Dion. So Donnie McClurkin. I don't know if it was an interview or I don't know what it was, but it was. I sent it to Brandon because Brandon was. But I'm the one that found it and then sent it to Brandon. But anyway, Donnie was basically. I'm paraphrasing, so I'm not saying word for word what Donnie McClurkin said, but basically Donnie McClurkin told us that he has no idea what women want, and he is coming to the realization that he is just going to be single for the rest of his life, and he was really thriving. Well, he was really expecting to have a family, kids running around, and all that stuff, but he just does not know what women want. And that's the reason why he's not with a woman. And I felt the pain in his voice as he was saying that because, honey, that is Sister Donna McClurkin. Okay, I'm not, no shade. I'm just saying. And I feel that Donna McClurkin definitely was fighting with himself during that whole time. It was very weird to see because I'm thinking, how are you going to tell the public that you have no idea what women want when all of us can feel and know that you don't care to know what women want? So Donnie, sweetie,
yeah,
I'm going to be praying for you. Because you are so gifted and your voice is so anointed. And your voice is one of a kind in the gospel industry. And you bless people's hearts and minds when you sing. Your voice is angelic. But I'm sad for you. And I think the reason why he is in that space is because he's in the gospel industry. And the church looks at that as looks at homosexuals as negative, and they look down on people who are in the LGBT community. And he is holding back. He is preventing himself, not holding back. He's preventing himself from living his best life because of what the church says.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad for him. I feel really bad for him. And and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let Brandon say his piece. Donnie McClurkin was better off not saying nothing. He was better off not doing that right there. He should have just. We know you in the LGBT community. We know you was better off not saying nothing. Donnie, you were better off not saying nothing. Okay.
Yeah, I think anybody who grew up in church and who is gay, or same gender loving, however you want to state it, or homosexual or whatever, has been probably where Donnie has been. And I think the sad part is it doesn't have to be that way. And what rocks my mind is we can do all this stuff as humans, right? Try to go to the moon and try to solve. There's people who study sociology and psychology, and we have doctors and we have mathematicians and very smart people, physicians, and people who study physics and all people who study all these things, right? But how is it not common sense to not understand that, you know, that you didn't choose your own sexuality the same way you didn't choose your biology, the same way you didn't choose your birthday. And some people might think that you did choose your birthday and you did choose when, like if you've seen that Disney movie, Soul, some people might feel like there's some truth to that. Maybe there is some truth to that. But the idea that I'm saying is that when it comes to sexuality, like I personally don't believe humans chose their own sexuality. When I've asked people, both heterosexual and homosexual, or gay or straight, however you want to say it, about sexuality, they say that they didn't choose it, it came naturally. And so for me, I'm just like, I feel sad for Donnie because he maybe feels that he can't really live the way he wants to live. At the same time, I'm grateful that people like Andre and I are an example for people to still have a relationship with the Most High and live authentically themselves. Because I guarantee if you believe in a God, if you believe in the Most High, then wouldn't wouldn't you think that He wants you to be authentically yourself?
I mean, think
Because because
about
so would He want you to live a lie? Because how many preachers are living a lie? How many people sit up in a church married to a woman but got a man on the side and that kind of thing? Do you think that the Most High would rather have that, just as a cover, or for you to live authentically yourself? And then, you know what I've been thinking about a lot, Andre? Like being in relationship with certain people, friends, sometimes even family. We could take that boycott thing and even apply it to them, and just in a different way. Let me explain. Like being in a relationship with someone who does not deserve to be in your space, wouldn't you say that's sinning against yourself?
it
For,
absolutely is.
for, for,
And there are
for-
people, not to cut you off, Brandon, but there
yeah.
are people in my family that are in relationships
Mm-hmm.
and they're sinning against themselves because they see the issue, they see the problem
Yeah.
within their marriage, within their relationship, with family, and they are family that, and they're just staying in it because of time, because of
Mm-hmm.
how long they've been in the
Yeah.
relationship, how long it's been, and oh, time is of the essence. So I got to make sure I maximize on my time, but you're not maximizing on anything because
Mm-hmm.
what the root of happiness is by ensuring that you are living your best life and being authentic to not just yourself but your surroundings, being true, because if you're not authentic inward, it's not going to produce outward.
Mm-hmm.
And it saddens me because I see so many people on social media, and Brandon, I talk to you offline, posting all these happy-go-lucky things going on in their
Mm-hmm.
lives or all this stuff, but deep down, it's like there's so much pain there, and
Yeah.
I feel that people would be better off staying off of social media, handling the stuff that's going on in your home,
Mm-hmm.
handling the stuff that's going on, and saying, "Hey, before I post anything, I need to make sure I'm good
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to be inauthentic. I
Right.
don't." I don't
Yeah.
want to be. I want to be true to myself. When I'm posting something, that is legit me. That is how I feel. That is me. And
Mm-hmm.
I. But if I'm in a space where I'm like not feeling it, I'm not gonna fake the funk and post something, and that's not really it. Like people, there's a lot of people that are living for this perfect image thing,
Mm-hmm.
and those people are being revealed.
Yeah.
So. I want to read Dion's comment. He
Well,
says,
you got Everett's first.
I can't see Everett's
Okay,
comment.
I'll read it. It says, I believe it is part church and part community, the upbringing and the judging by your own people. Okay, can you read Dion's?
Yeah, I don't know why I can't see Everett's. I'm in my feelings about that. Like, maybe that may have been when I froze and I couldn't see his
Oh,
comment.
look.
Oh,
I just realized I could do that.
we can put comments on the screen. Oh, y'all listen. Shout out to StreamYard again. We are learning that we can put comments that y'all put in the comments onto
Yeah.
the live show. So I'm going to read it from here. Shout out to Dion. Great picture, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He says, personally, I don't feel bad for him. I love him. He's an icon in the industry. However, times have changed. It's time to be true to himself and stop living a lie and torturing themselves to please others who are also living the same lie. Thank
We
you,
don't
Dion.
talk about that.
Um,
Look what Ever said.
I see, and I'm no, but I cannot see your comments. So on my comment section on Vibelytical, I can't see your comments, but I saw um Dion's though.
Hmm.
Yes, Dion said, "Come on, Streamyard. Streamyard, be on it. Listen, we are happy with Streamyard.
Mhm.
Streamyard has been great to us. That's why you see that graphic design behind me and Brandon, Brandon and I. So shout out to Streamyard for that. But yeah, oh, and one thing I want to say: make sure y'all spell check y'all stuff because we don't want y'all misspelling stuff. And then
And then
Brandon,
you put it up on the screen.
I'm just being honest. Just make sure you spell check your stuff, okay? Because I don't want y'all to be talked about for misspelling stuff. But anyway, but yeah, so I Dion said he don't feel bad for Donnie. I kind of do, Dion, and I agree. I see what you're saying in not feeling bad for him because he's a grown man, make your decisions. But I feel a little bit bad for him because I just feel that, especially being in the gospel industry and how they look at each other, it's cutthroat in that industry, and I feel that he won't come out because of him being a part of the gospel industry and being a gospel artist. And I feel bad for that aspect. But if you really want to live an authentic life, kind of what I said before, you will definitely need to be honest with yourself. And it does
Mhm.
not matter that you are, may have been that you may be removed or from the gospel community.
Yeah.
You will still be living your true self. And then you
What?
would have your fans who are not in the gospel industry, your true fans will still be in your corner. So I'll just
Mhm.
throw that in there. So yeah.
I also feel some type of way about. I don't even know. I can't land on my thought on this because none of us have it all together, and I would say that we're all broken, and it's just up to us to allow the Most High to put us back together. Um, if I'm oversimplifying things. But I think what is interesting is what Donnie said. He discussed that he doesn't know what women want. He discussed that he's also been in relationships with men. And I think the thing is, it's kind of the fact that he just said he just goes back into ministry. And we could look at that a couple of different ways, I think. On one hand, it's kind of like maybe you need to get your own house in order before you minister to people. But on the other hand, it's like none of us minister from a whole place. Maybe we are as whole as we can be in the moment in time, but we still haven't arrived. So I'm not trying to judge Donnie on that sense. But I do think there are certain situations in which, if I was to speak about my life before I was going to minister to somebody else, I did need to have certain areas of my life together. And really, you know what I would say that is? My identity. So even when my actions and didn't line up with my thoughts and the way that I wanted to go in my life, I still feel like I knew what my identity was. And and maybe Donnie knows what his identity is and he knows what his purpose is. And maybe that's why he just goes back into ministry.
Dion says, but he's already oh, let me read Everett's comments first. The one that I cannot see, unfortunately.
I got you.
There is a bravery that must be acknowledged to living his true self. He may simply just not be ready to face it himself. That is a very good statement and very true. Dion says, but he's already placed himself in this lifestyle.
Hmm.
I'm really mad I can't see Everett's comments. Like, I'm really upset about that. But thank you, Brandon,
Yes, I
for
got you.
comment on that. Because I'm like,
We're
what?
not we're not ignoring him 3,000. So
Yes. So don't be saying I'm ignoring you, Everett. Ugh. Like,
Mhm.
I was like, gosh, I can't see his comments. But yeah, so yeah, that's very true.
And can I pat us on the back real quick? Because I just thought about something. I think the more people like us that are out here who are living authentically, I think we are an example to, other people who may be gay. Like you don't have to give up just because you may not fit in a church building doesn't mean you ain't part of the mishpachah or the ecclesia or you know what I'm saying, the church or the saints. Every believer is a priest. If you go look at First Peter 2:9, shoot, every believer is a priest. We're all part of the royal priesthood, a chosen people for the Most High's own pleasure. And so I think that just because you don't may not fit in at a church or a denomination or be able to do your thing there, this is ministry. This is Andre and I's ministry. This is my baby. Like this was my vision, and Andre, we linked up to it, and he came on board, and now he's like the driver of the show, and we talk and we envision and we dream, and I think that by us doing this is another form of ministry. Even though we're sharing our opinions, even though we might be a little clapbackish or a little shady, but it's always, we're not shady for real. It's always with the intent to uplift and edify and talk about relevant things that people are facing because we face the same things. Andre faced the same things that he went through the Donnie McClurkin stage. I went through the Donnie McClurkin stage and where he is. And I think that it is a decision to stay in the place where you're at and not grow. And once that becomes uncomfortable, that's when it's time to move.
And
Whether
what
that
we say, and then what we say, I'm sorry, Brandon, but what we say is rooted in love, though. Like what we say is rooted in love, is rooted in uplifting and edifying. We may be a little bit, as you say, shady or whatever, but I mean, what we say is rooted in love. Uh,
mm-hmm.
Dion says, if given a chance to speak to him, what advice would you give him to help him with the situation? Ooh, I got something. Thank you for that question. I got something.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do, what I would say to Donnie is, Donnie, I understand. First of all, I would approach it with the Donnie, I understand your struggle. I understand what you're going through. I empathize with what you're going through. But I want to ensure that you are living the life you deserve to live for yourself and to not live for the church. Don't live for anybody but you. And until you can, and I want you to work on the self love, because that's what I'm working on right now. Self love, loving myself, because I feel that there's no way Donnie can love himself truly if he's not living in his authentic self. If he's not, then there is no self love there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell him to look inward,
Mm-hmm.
really really dig into what he wants and do a self reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely tell him that once he does that, then anything that the church says won't even matter to him anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be a release. There's going to be a freeness in him
You
once he
better
lets go of
say
what
that again. There's gonna be a what
a freeness.
and you said a release.
A really, yes. So once you are able to analyze and self-reflect on what is best for you, there will be a sense of release within your spirit, and you will feel free again. Well, actually, I don't ever think he
Mm-hmm.
was free. So because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like he's always been trapped in this in that ministry and therapy. Call it what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that whole
More
there's
so
no,
therapy. More
huh?
so therapy. More so therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ministry, I feel like he's got that on lock a lot more. But I think
Yeah.
that with the therapy, the ministry will be enhanced.
Well, I thought what Everett was talking about was our show too. That our show is ministry and therapy, right, Everett? Let me know. Um, I would also add to that. I think there's nothing once you live authentically and you are at peace with yourself and the Most High. I feel like nothing can, bam. See, I know. I be picking up.
Okay, Prophet
I knew
Allen.
Eric was talking about the show. Um,
Prophet Allen, yes.
so I think that once you live authentically, um, and you know that you and the Most High are good, there's nothing that another human could say that would come in and disrupt that. And I think too often we listen to people instead of going to the Most High Himself through His Ruach Hakodesh or Holy Spirit. Um, that live that like. Okay, can I just preach for like 30 seconds? Okay, so the
We'll
Most
just give you 3 minutes, but go
Right.
ahead.
Okay. So the Most High put Himself in Yahusha, right? In came been robed in flesh. You could just read John 1 to get everything I'm saying. So when that happened, He had to go be hung on a tree. If you go look up the cross, it wasn't a cross. He was hung on a tree. That as a whole different that'll preach right there. But so He hung on a tree, right? When He gave up the ghost, He came and He conquered. He got the keys to death, hell, and the grave. Right before he did all that, He told the disciples, "I'm gonna send you my comforter." His comforter is His Spirit that comes to live and dwell in you, which is why your body is a temple. And He said, "Know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit?" So that means the Holy Spirit lives on the inside of you, which means that you have a direct connection with the Most High. So, but what's crazy is when you go to church buildings, they don't really dwell on that enough. They say come because it's a lot of times, not all of them, not all of them, but a lot of times it's about money. It's about that pastor's lifestyle. It's about that nice building that they got. It's about this worship experience where they want to make you feel good. Come out there like Whitney, you know what I mean? I miss Whitney. I miss Whitney. But it's about all of this stuff to get you emotionally wrapped up. But if you listen to the teaching, it's very like Paul talked about, like, was it Paul, I think, who said, we on the milk. Yes, we know about the death bird. Can we get to the meat? Can we get to the deeper things? Like, tell me what I minister to me in my situation and what I'm actually going through. Make this relevant to me. And I think that what happens is when you submit yourself to the Holy Spirit within you, you treat your body as a temple and your mind and your heart. You protect and preserve your purpose. And you go watch our last show, Coping with Hardships. You realize, like, you know what, you can make it through. And church, visiting a building should be an enhancement to your faith, not the whole of your faith. So right, so if it's an enhancement to your faith, that's a good thing. But if it's the whole of your faith, then I would say you don't have none. Because we have this ability to have this connection to Him, and I would say there's nothing more precious than it. And you have to, I think every believer is also a farmer. First of all, every person is a believer. Maybe they might not call Him God or the Most High or anything, but we're all believers in something. We're born with it. It's innate. If you say you're not a believer, that means you have to work hard to not be one. It means you're actively pursuing not being one. That's just
Ooh,
my right.
ooh. I mean, yeah, I
That's
mean,
that's my that is how I believe. So an atheist who
yeah.
says I don't believe in a higher power or whatever, like they're actively pursuing atheism and trying to find conscious reasons why they don't believe. So in essentially they are a believer but working to not believe. That's just my how I would explain it. So um but people like Donnie or anyone watching this show or anyone who's struggling to live an authentic life, I think the hardest thing for any human to do is walk in their own truth. But that's why the Most High came to make that easier, so you can walk in the best truth with the best resources and have the best knowledge in order to do it. And also, where we're weak, He's made strong. So when it's hard for us to go through situations, in coping with hardships, we talked about casting our cares on Him, for He cares for us. But there's so much with that gospel. And then can I say this too about the homosexual thing? When you go and you look up, that word wasn't even used in the Bible. You find that that wasn't until like 1940 something, 43 or something like that, which was translated from effeminate, which was translated from catamite. And catamite is probably what you think it is, and that's pedophilia. So, like the verdict is out. And even, you know, I think the problem with American Christianity is it tries to dominate how people should live their lives. But shouldn't they only have one God?
One.
One. Not what does the church say and what does the church tell me the Bible says, and then you know what I'm saying? It's just what is the Most High telling me to do right now?
Which goes into what Dion said. What the church needs to remember is that they have no heaven or hell to put anyone in. God is our only judge. Man cannot
Mm.
judge.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Can I add on to that? I want to
Mhm.
disagree with that statement slightly. God is our only judge. Man cannot judge. I think we can judge, but that word judge, let me say it like this: man cannot condemn, but we all judge. And
Yeah.
it's something that's inherent in us, especially because what is also inherent in us as humans is knowing right from wrong. We're born with a certain measure of knowing right from wrong. We're born with a certain measure of connectedness, in coping with hardships. See, I be plugging that last.
Listen, I feel great because I am the one that comes up with these. So for you to be like,
Yes.
plug in the topic, please.
Yes, because like I said, with this show, this is ministry and therapy for us. Like we are living it. And in coping with hardships, we talked like I gave the example, like if I just started crying right now and Andre and I were together, like what would he do? Like he would console me, like he would come hug me or something, you know what I mean? Make the connection to try to help somebody feel better, to show empathy. And why is that? Because we're all created with a certain measure of connectedness. If we see somebody hurting, we're going to have a measured response to it. That's data. That's something you can actually see and know. Which, can we talk about the George Floyd
That was
murderer
gonna
on
be,
trial?
yeah. I want us to close on that. Yes, I wanted us to close on that. So you
Okay.
read my mind. I wanted us to close on George Floyd. So
Okay, you want to go first because I've been talking?
yeah, I'll go for. Well, I'll just go first because you were last talking,
Okay.
not because you just been talking a lot.
Okay.
uh, so I do want Brandon to speak on this last because he's been. I want him to speak on it after me because he has been the one that's really been watching it intently. So, if for those of you that have, please comment and let us know what you thought of the trial, um, of the case that's going on with that. I feel that. Well, I did watch a little bit, so let me take that back. I actually watched a little bit of it
Hmm. Did you
today.
watch it when I sent? Oh, not when I sent you to you.
No, this was
Okay.
just me during lunch, before me and you got on the phone because we would talk almost every lunch hour. But we always talk during the lunch hour.
Mhm.
But it was after we hung up. I didn't talk to anybody else during lunch, and I did watch a little bit, and I watched the emotion of one of them. Just I mean, he was just crying on the stand. About and basically I'm paraphrasing here, but just
Mhm.
saying like he just felt like there was no remorse and it was just very emotional for him to see
Mhm.
and he felt like he couldn't defend. This is a black man that was on the stand and he just basically felt like I had no way. I felt like in a way he felt like he was going to get killed if he tried to step in to get that cop off of George Floyd's neck.
Mhm.
And that just took me to a place that
Mhm.
I mean, I got teary eyed watching that because he was
Yeah.
crying. This man was crying, saying like, like it was very inhumane, just to be real. And um, one thing that Brandon and I discussed before we got on live, did later this and earlier was like, we both won't really be surprised if he goes free,
Mhm.
um, because it seems like the defense. I don't even want to say his name. That man's defense is basically saying that drugs were the cause of his death. Drugs that were in George
Mhm.
Floyd's system was the reason for him um, to go and to be gone from us.
Mhm.
And it's disgusting what I'm
Mhm.
seeing because I'm telling you what, if it was somebody black that had they knee on a white man's neck or anybody's neck for that matter, it don't even matter.
Mhm. Mhm.
Honey, there wouldn't be no thinking about it. It wouldn't be no pondering. It wouldn't be nothing. He would be under the jail. and
Yeah.
he would be under it. Okay, so
Mhm.
and it kind of goes back to what Brandon and I have said before we even got a page on Vibelytical. The police force is when you really think about it, it's for white people. It is not really to protect us. So until we see the world sees, not just me and Brandon, but
Mhm.
the world sees that things work out for the favor of black people and people of color. I'm gonna I'm gonna feel that the same way, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. And I feel like that man is going to not have to suffer any consequences for literally murdering George Floyd.
Mhm.
That's how I feel about it.
Mhm.
Ever says, and he has every right to feel that way as a black man in America. The deck is stacked against anyone of color, or at least the laws seem to be written to protect white men first. Didn't I just say something?
Mhm.
Then white women. The black man is the last person that laws were designed for. Just my opinion. I mean, I'm in total
Mhm.
agreement with that effort. Thank you for that.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what? Like, so I started thinking about history. I think it's a great disservice that happens in the American education system. The fact that history is not taught accurately, and the three-fifths clause, that stated that a slave would not be treated as they would be treated as three-fifths of a human, and I feel that that still stands even after so-called civil rights and all that, based on law enforcement, based on the inhumane treatment of black people, black men and women in this country. Um, it seems like that still stands.
I want to read Dion's comments. So he says there will be another uprising, one that will be greater than the one before. Like you said, the entire world is watching, and I
Yep,
firmly believe the entire world is watching.
yep. And I'm about to just, y'all buckle up. I'm about to just come straight with it. I made a post earlier, so I'll just read that post. I said, this was a satanic ritual killing. Derek Chauvin and the two other officers were in connection with George Floyd's body until he died. It was like a hunter posing over his prey. It was the ultimate display of a disregard of human life. Only a devil could be so inhumane. And that's really how I feel about the murder of George Floyd. Like, I mean, and because think about the traumatic energy that the people were given from witnessing something like that. Like, and it was crazy because I didn't know that there were two other officers until I saw a different camera angle. But when I thought about that, I'm like, yes, they were in contact with his body when he died. Like, think about how inhumane that is. Even after he was unresponsive, they continued to have the knee on the neck, then didn't render medical aid. And when I saw that, I broke down. When this thing happened, I broke down, and I remember telling Shay that I would lose. Like, if that was me, I would have lost my life. People say like, if that had been me, I would have. Well, Andre, you know me, and I can tell you right now, if
You will.
that was any human, from that moment forward, I can't say I would have done that before seeing that, but from that moment forward, what happened to me, like when I broke down, like my spirit broke, and what I felt and what I saw was like that could not be me watching that. I would have had to. I would have had to risk my life, and maybe he would still be alive. And what happened after that, and if you go look at old Vibelytical show when we talked about this, what happened after that was um, I later saw the video of one of the women who recorded the actual murder, and she was back at the site, and she was distraught, and she was like, I should have did something. I sat there and I watched him die and I didn't do something. And if you look at every witness thus far, they had said the same thing. Like the other I don't know if it was the same woman who was on the stand, but one of the ladies who was just on the stand the other day, I think yesterday, she was like, every day I apologized, and I cry myself to sleep at night, and I think that I should have done more. And then she ended her statement like this, and then the judge cut her off. He was just like, she said, but it's not what I should have done, it's what Derek Chauvin should have done.
Ooh. And the judge cut her off because you're talking about his people. But anyway, the spirit of the 3/5 compromise is alive and moving through America on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Everett. And Dion said, yes, speak it. So he's saying, speak it to
Mm-hmm.
you,
Yeah.
Brandon, because you're speaking over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the emotion on those individuals' faces, I mean, ugh, it. I think I only saw like 10 minutes of it, and then I had to get back to work. But it's something. And like Dion said earlier, there's going to be another uprising. I do believe that.
Especially if he only gets manslaughter. And there's some things that And can we end on another subject? Can we end talking about Democrats?
Yeah, we can end on that. Well, that's a good
Yeah,
answer, and then we can do our plug.
yeah.
I'll announce the plug whenever you're done.
Okay. And let us know, y'all, what y'all think about the Democrats as far as like being in power, them leveraging things. And my thoughts are, ain't nobody in America put as many black and brown people in prison than Joe Biden in his sponsorship of the crime bill, and also Kamala Harris. And I think that what happens is we be giving these people a pass because they're Democrats, and so they automatically get given this rite of passage as if there's something progressive and all this, but they're not. And I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today. At least when Trump was in office, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but think about the fact that there was conversations around black empowerment and all that kind of stuff, and that always happens around election time. So I'm not saying, um, I'm just saying, but at the same time, where's that conversation happening now, with the George Floyd murderer being on trial? Like, where are these conversations happening now? Um,
Ever since the thing about another uprising, it is what they truly want for it to be open season on all black people. Ooh.
mm.
Hey, Ever, I wish I could see your comments before it's posted on the live.
It's okay. I can moderate too. We both executive producers,
We both executive producers of the Vibelytical show, absolutely.
but
But
I
yeah, that is yeah. Oh, that was deep effort.
yeah.
Yeah, that was deep.
And that's why I think, because we will not be, I'm on the Democrats. The Democrats are not leveraging their power base. They're not good at framing their argument. The GOP is all together. They all for one, all for Trump. They're all for 45. And I'm just like, with the Democrats, like, where is the action? Y'all tweet good. Warnock also off the squad. Y'all tweet good. Y'all say, you know what I'm saying? AOC, you on social media, you got this following, but like, where's the sit-ins? Where's the organizing of the people, and promoting um black empowerment? Like, where is this? Why I'm tired of having a conversation and not seeing no action. Why are we still talking about reparations? And cause see, the more we have the conversation, the more they try to frame it. Like the GOP be like, oh, reparations is just about slavery. No, reparations is about slavery, Jim Crow, the whole need for civil rights. And obviously, even now, we are still being treated like 3/5 of a human. Because if the case was the other way around, there was that black officer who accidentally killed the white woman. How long did that take? But this trial took 10 months. That
Yeah.
officer was in jail like that.
And I've already told you, Dion says, but it isn't just black people who will be a part of this.
You're right.
One thing I will say, and I told Brandon this offline about, I think I texted this, and I'm gonna just say it now because I don't care. But I feel that um, Republicans are they're really the thugs of the political party, and the
Mm,
Democrats are weak.
mm,
The Democrats let the Republicans roll all over them. They have no backbone, and
mhm,
that's how I feel about it. So
mhm.
I feel like the Democrats, like you said, can talk a good game, but what we doing, y'all? Like
Where's our act?
we hear you all day, but what you doing?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. Ever says this was a meme at one time that I thought I mentioned here before, but when it comes to Democrats and Republicans, what if I were to tell you the right wing and the left wing belong to the same bird.
Amen.
We talked about that too, Brandon, didn't we? We
Yeah.
basically said it's like they can look like they in cahoots, like they're designed to look
Mhm.
like they disagree, but they agree more than not on everything. So, I mean, yeah.
Yep. And I think it's interesting too, like when you think about the church picking sides within that, like how you picking sides within an evil system. You know what I mean? And shout out to Reverend Barber because he be going hard. And when it came to the minimum wage, if y'all haven't seen that video on the Now This when he broke down the whole minimum wage thing, he came hard at the Democrats and he was like, "Hey, um, Joe Biden might be my brother, and I preached at his inauguration, but at the same time, like right is right, and I'm not gonna cowtail." And old Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West, came out against Democrats too, and basically he was not renewed. His tenure was not renewed at Harvard because of it.
Well, Dion said, "Oop, come on and speak." I don't know if he was talking to Everett or myself, but yeah. So
Yeah, I appreciate. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate the feedback and the comments. It helps the show flow. So yeah, it's been great.
yeah, so Brandon and I would like to thank you so much for tuning in. We will be coming on Sunday for a topic, and we're going to give that plug. But before we give that plug, I just want to say that Brandon and I want to thank you from the depths of our heart for the support and the love. And I mean, the page that we created has just been climbing and climbing with followers, and we just want to thank you all for the support.
Thank
Um,
you. Yes.
so much, and we are just blessed and fortunate to have you all in our lives.
Mhm.
And yeah, so without further ado, Brandon is going to give us a plug of what we're going to be talking about on Sunday, and I cannot wait because this is going to be a lighthearted episode. So here it is.
Whoop, there it is.
That is it. We're going to be talking about versions of laughter. So I'm excited about this episode because I mean, just keeping it real, we have been kind of going deep. We've been kind of deep on some topics like coping with
Mhm.
hardships was last Sunday, and then we had
Stereotype threats.
stereotype threats, and those two episodes were deep. But this coming Sunday, this is more of an educational episode. But I already know Brandon's gonna put his amazing spiritual spin on laughter and on that stuff. But yes, look for Virgins of Laughter. We're gonna promote it on throughout the week. So you're gonna see that same the music behind it. You're gonna see that whole graphic all
Mhm.
through the week. So make sure you tune in Sunday at 8 p.m. and I'll be talking to you all. Brandon and I will be talking to you all about Virgins of
Mhm.
Laughter. So please like, comment, and share this
Yeah,
episode on your
thank you.
pages. And Brandon, do you have anything before we go?
No, hey, feel free to share the graphic and promote the show with us, especially if it's a blessing to you. You know, we would appreciate if you share it. We don't do this show for likes. We do it for comments, you know, and dialogue with you all. And we do appreciate that because we want to be a voice for you, and we think that we have, you know, great things to say as well. So yeah, that's so if you feel like it's blessed you and you want to share it, that would be amazing. And we got a lot of great things coming. We're always envisioning how we can make the show better. And if you see our old stuff, like we didn't have the backgrounds, we didn't have the graphics, so it's gonna continue to get better and better. You know, we today we like was dreaming about merch, you know, and going on tour, and we just talk about all this stuff, like, you know. And I'm saying that right now because guess what? Maybe y'all will still be here on the journey with us and you know be part of the show. And if you ever want to be a guest, then reach out to us. And we do have an email, Vibelytical at gmail.com. Not, we don't have the on there, it's just Vibelytical at gmail.com. So you can send us your prayer requests, send us your story. If you want that story to be anonymous, we can do that as well. If this show has blessed you and you want to, you know, share something that we said that's blessed you, that would be amazing too. So that's all I have.
All right. Well, do you want to wrap it up with our Vibelytical show music?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's enjoy it. We enjoy watching it.
Bye, y'all.
Peace out.